So about a month or two ago, I ended up getting a speeding ticket. I didn't get pulled over. It was like photo enforced or whatever. But the crazy thing is that it was right in the road right in front of my house, which is like right in front of a school. I'm usually extra careful because of that. So I don't know, I'm having a hard time believing that I was actually going this amount. They were saying I went 37 on 25. Usually when it's photo enforced, they'll have the warning too, which I don't think they even had. Needless to say, I did not pay this ticket. I sent in the little slip to request to go into court, but the thing is that I never received confirmation. They're like, yeah, send it in, and like on the back it said you'll get like a date, time, and then like a confirmation, whatever. I never received that. There is a date and time on here already, so I'm just gonna go now. I'm hoping the officer doesn't go, the reviewing officer doesn't go, I don't have to pay it. But honestly, if I get even a $50 discount, I'll be happy. Like, or if it get it all removed, because like I don't want to pay $100, y'all. Like I already paid $50 because I turned on it was like yellow red, and I kind of went a little bit too late. I'm gonna try to fight this low key and just, yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm back from court. I ran some errands and now I'm back at home chilling. So what happened was I went to the room. It's a lady officer on my ticket, so when I saw 3 officers come in, there was only 1 lady, so I figured that was her. So I'm like, okay, dang, the officer showed up. I was kind of upset to see her, not gonna lie. The judge explained to us how it was gonna go. We can plead non-guilty, guilty, or no contest. So everyone had their turn to go. They took turns calling up the officers. The lady went first, and she only had like 2 people, and they never called my name, so I was like kind of confused. So they went through all the officers, and at the end, they all left. And I'm like, wait, no. So I was kind of concerned because like I didn't want to have to come back, you know what I mean? I was kind of shy to say anything, but eventually I called the deputy over and I was like, hey, like, my ticket says this lady's officer's name, which I think was her, but she left and they never called my name. And he was like, okay, we'll just wait to the end. So I had to wait till everybody, got called, got dealt with, and then it was me. So I told him, I was like, yeah, like, they never called my name, blah, blah, blah. So the judge was like, go to the clerk and tell him to print you out a summons, and then we can review this today. So I went to the clerk and they're like, no, a court date never came through from the police station. Like, call the police station and have them deal with it. So I was like, okay. So then I went back to the judge, and the judge was just like, you know what? Call them and tell them that I was planning to dismiss it. Like, you were here just so you don't have to come back. And, the court really doesn't need another $50. So, yeah, call them. And then he took my ticket and signed it that I was present and that I was never summoned. So, okay. So then when I got home, I right away called the police station and they transferred me to the lady that reviewed the ticket because it was a photo thing. She didn't pull me over. So I explained to her, I was like, yeah, I sent over the slip. It says to request a hearing, take the slip on the bottom and mail it in, which I did that. And she was like, no, to request a hearing, you have to come in person. It was just weird because on the back, it said to mail it in. So it was just like a discrepancy there. So she was like, okay, I'll call you back. I'm gonna call the clerk, see what's going on, and I'll call you back. I was like, okay. A few minutes later, she called me back and she told me that she couldn't get in contact with the clerk. Because of that, she's gonna dismiss it because she doesn't know if I'm gonna be able to get another court date, which I was so happy about. But then I told her, I was like, okay, well, since it doesn't say in the system that I contested this charge or whatever, and is there any way that this could go to collection? She was like, no, as long as I'm putting it in the system, it should be fine. But if it does, like, come in and we'll deal with it. So I was like, okay. I just saved myself $100. So I could have, usually I'm the type to just pay it just to get out of the way. But this time I was just like, you know what? Like, no, I do hear a lot of advice saying, like, if you don't want to pay the full amount or if you can't, just go into court. And a lot of times they'll reduce the fee, which is true. I did notice that they were reducing a lot of people's fines. Like, a lot of people got out with like $50 fines, and one lady even got out with a $20 fine, which I know is a lot less than the ticket originally said. However, they charge the ticket fee, right? But they also charge court fees. Okay, and I'm over here thinking that court fees is like $15. Well, there was a couple there, and I guess they were driving through this area. They're from like almost 2 hours away, and they came for this court date. And it was an older gentleman, and the judge was like, you know what, for this trouble, sorry how to go through that, I'll go ahead and dismiss the $50 fee, and you'll just have to pay court fees for, just like the having to show up and everything like that. And he was like, okay. So he was like, yeah, go to the clerk's office. So whenever I went to the clerk's office to go ask, they were right in front of me. So I was listening into how much they had to pay. They had to pay $82. Like $82 was the court fee. That's crazy. I was thinking it was like maybe like 10, $15. So then I'm like thinking, okay, my original traffic ticket was $100, right? If I was able to go in and contest it like I wanted to originally, I could have probably got it down to $50, okay? But then add on $80 on top of that, I would have been coming out behind. It would have been better just for me to pay the ticket. Do with that as you will, but I don't know if it's even worth to go in and fight the ticket if you have to pay almost $100 in court fees, which is almost the same as the ticket or even more sometimes. I don't know. I think what happened to me was just like an admin thing that really doesn't happen often. Everything would have gone smooth with me, and I would have been heard. I would have probably been able to get the ticket down to 50, but then would have had to pay about 80 for, the court fees. So I would have been having to pay like 130, which is $30 more than originally had to. And plus I spent an hour of my time there. So it is not a good deal. I would definitely think about that before going in to contest a ticket, especially if you probably were guilty for it. I would just say pay it, and avoid those court fees, unless you're like absolutely positive that it's not, either it wasn't you driving or there was a mistake. Then I would say obviously go and get it dismissed. Then you don't have to pay court fees. But if they find you guilty or no contest, you got to pay that court fee, which is so annoying. So hopefully that's helpful for y'all. Praise God, I didn't have to pay the ticket, but if it ever happens again, hopefully it doesn't. I don't think I'm going to go in. All right, peace out.